So, frankly, seeing this type of story come out about college athletics, the football program in particular, is not that surprising. I'll link it in the description box down below, but here it is. CSU athletes, Colorado State University, athlete staff say athletic administration covering up COVID-19 health threat. I mean, it's just so fucking disgusting. And again, college athletes should be paid. These universities, the NCAA makes billions of dollars each year off of their labor, and they get crumbs in return. It's disgusting, and largely, a lot of these sports, in particular, are exploiting student athletes of color as well. It's another form of racist exploitation of their labor. CSU football players and university athletic department staff say coaches have told players not to report COVID-19 symptoms, threaten players with reduced playing time if they quarantine, and claim CSU is altering contact tracing reports to keep players practicing. It's like, Jesus Christ, literally gambling with these kids' lives in order to get them to play a sport so they can make money for the university and they can make money for the NCAA. It's so disgusting. Again, putting profits before people, before these student athletes in this case. And they say those actions by the athletic administration is putting their health at risk in return for monetary gain the school would receive if the fall sports are played. They're totally on point there. Football players said they would like to play this season, but don't believe there should be a season given the spike in positive cases on the team in the past 2 weeks and the threat of more once Colorado State's full student body comes to campus later this month. I believe there's a cover-up going on at CSU, said a current football player who wished to remain anonymous for fear of retribution, which seems like it's happening. It's basically, these players were saying if they speak out, if they speak up about what's going on, they fear retribution. That's disgusting. And again, there's the huge, power imbalance in place with the coaches and the administration having all of it, and these players having to report this anonymously shows you, where the power lies in this asymmetrical, power situation. But they could only cover it up so long, and now we have so many cases across athletics, they can't cover it up anymore. It's not about the health and safety of the players, but about trying to make money off the players. Boom. They get it. They get it. They understand that they're being exploited during this pandemic, potentially contracting this life-threatening, COVID-19 in order to make profits for the school. It's disgusting. Said an athletic department staff member, there are some red flags in the athletic department, but the common denominator with this administration is to protect the coaches before the student athletes. And that makes them feel more like they are cattle than student athletes, because that's how they're being treated. Again, profits of the school, the football program are being put before these football players' lives. It's disgusting. The players and staff members were 2 of 10 players and staff who contacted the Coloradoan in the past week regarding CSU's handling of athletics and COVID-19. None wish to be identified for fear of retribution. And then it's the athletic director just, trying to deflect, saying, well, they're the most tested population. If this is the way they feel, we need to amp it up. It doesn't matter if that's the program, if the coaches are there and the other people on the football administration are saying, you got to stay quiet about this. I don't want you speaking up. I don't want you saying you're sick, because, you're going to lose your playing time. You're going to lose favor. I think everybody could be doing a better job, the player said. But for our coaches to tell players not to tell trainers if they have symptoms because we had so many guys out is wrong. There's the athletic director. It's on the rise there. Let's see. What else we have? Players practice with risk of COVID-19 exposure. Again, it's a fucking game, so they can make money for the school, for the NCAA. It's disgusting. And again, these players need to be paid. They need to be paid for their labor. They're literally, in this case, putting their lives on the line doubly because, football is a very violent and aggressive sport. You can get some really serious, life-altering injuries playing it. And then you stack on top of that the fact that, they're being exposed to COVID-19 at practice by their coaches. It's disgusting. Players and athletic staff said they believe the pause should have happened in a week earlier, but the coach Steve Adazio was adamant to get practices in there. You got to play where people are getting tested, people are getting a lot of positive, but you got to play. That's more important than the players' health. It's a big fuck you to them from the coach. Players said trainers stress adhering to safety guidelines during training, but compliance is difficult. We had a player who definitely had coronavirus symptoms, coughing at practice, and he wasn't wearing a mask. I was next to him, touching him, and there was spit and sweat, a player said. I told him he needed to get tested, but he really didn't want to because then he would be out. The next day he's not at practice. If he tested positive, he already had spread the virus. That's how a lot of players don't feel safe about football practice. And then look, the head coach and the defensive coordinator not wearing masks. They're old people as well. Players and athletic staff voiced concern over the reporting protocol, claiming quarantine procedures vary widely, and the coaches are coercing health administrators not to quarantine athletes so they can continue to practice. And then, of course, again, the athletic director running interference. Yeah, I mean, who are you going to believe? I believe the student athletes over the athletic director. And then look what else is going on there. Colorado State halts football activities after allegations of racism and verbal abuse. You put that on top of the coaches and the other, administrative staff there pressuring players not to report, not to quarantine, or they face retribution. Again, putting their lives on the line to make a quick buck, or in this case, millions and billions, when it's extrapolated across, all these football programs in the U.S. for these universities and for the NCAA. They've halted all football activities indefinitely after learning of racism and verbal abuse allegations from within the Rams athletic administration and in the football program. And then check this out. This, which is what we were just talking about. This comes after Colorado State had announced earlier in the week that it launched an investigation to its athletic department following a report alleging players have been told not to report COVID-19 symptoms or they would see reduced playing time. And then there's the athletic director. I mean, all this shit's happening under their watch. Athletic director is the one who hires these coaches. Shouldn't they maybe be investigated as well? And so they're saying Colorado State is committed to being an anti-racist university. How are you being an anti-racist university if you aren't out there campaigning for these players to get paid? Vast majority of them, probably are student athletes of color. You're exploiting their labor. That's inherently racist by itself. Okay, so literally put your money where your mouth is, Parker. So it looks like they're getting an investigation. See what happens. Yeah. And then you have some of the players kind of parodying what the administration is saying. I mean, there was 10 sources for that Coloradoan story, so I don't know. Frankly, I believe the players over the administration or athletic director. What are your thoughts? Peace.